Hello, Bear Tavern families. This is Mr. Turnbull with this week's Bear Tavern Basics. Everything you need to know about Bear Tavern in around 5 minutes. A lot has happened over the last 2 weeks at Bear Tavern, so let's take a look and see what we're doing. On October 15th was Trout Day at Bear Tavern, where our trout eggs came. We had over 200 trout eggs delivered to Bear Tavern, and we have to keep them in our special tank with our chiller that stays at 52 degrees. And already we're getting some of our trout hatched, and we learned to take care of the good eggs and to get the bad eggs that are not viable out so they don't affect the rest of the group. And they're in a special basket right in the corner of our trout tank. So if you come by for conferences, take a look and make sure you peek in and check out that little white basket in the corner. We're very fortunate because we have our outstanding STEM facilitator, Mrs. Overman, who's actually going class by class to teach our students all about the trout life cycle and give some hands-on observation opportunities for our students. And they get to take a close look and learn all about taking care of the eggs and learning about what is going on. So that'll be a developing story over the next actual 6 months or more. We're going to keep them until June when we release them, and they'll be probably about 3 to 4 inches long by then. So it'll be really exciting to watch them grow and become part of Bear Tavern. Excuse me. We had Crazy Hair Day on the 22nd, and we had a lot of crazy hair. It was a great time for our students. It was fun, and some really creative, awesome hairstyles coming out at Bear Tavern. So that was a fun one. And we also had, in second grade, our Pumpkin Math Day on the 17th. And I want to call special attention to it because it encompasses so much of what we find important at Bear Tavern, because through pumpkins and an awesome seasonal theme, our second grade team was able to engage our students, not to mention with a lot of community and parent support. We had some really great volunteers, and we are thankful for that. But by utilizing a pumpkin, our group was able to learn about hand-eye coordination and doing some fun carving and some fun creative activities. But we also learned about observing, measuring, counting, collaborating, sorting, all different math concepts, writing. We wrote about our pumpkins and we observed different specific features, but all using a pumpkin and making it a hands-on, real experience rather than just learning out of a book or talking about something. So again, kudos to our whole second grade team and to all of the families who came in to support us with our pumpkin math. It's really, really a special activity, and it's hopefully what we're all about at Bear Tavern. Did you know we have our ukulele club up and running? We are 2 weeks in. This will be our third week, but for 5th grade students, they're allowed to come in during their lunchtime or their recess on Tuesdays to learn how to play the ukulele. And that's through a generous grant through the Hopewell Valley Education Foundation last year. And Mrs. McAdams runs that with a little help. And we even had our supervisor of fine and performing arts pop in last week. But it's a lot of fun. And we're practicing and learning more every single week. And I hope to learn a new song this year. When we learn at Bear Tavern, we try to incorporate real-world problems. And we had one of those at Bear Tavern. We have a beautiful pond on our property, and we have lots of leaves. And the two don't always go together very well. So Mrs. Finnegan's 3rd grade class, alongside Mrs. Overman, helped us to design a solution to our problem. And they did a really great job of studying the problem and understanding the parameters, like we have to let our special frog in and out, so we can't just cover it. But they built prototypes using actual materials on a small scale until they found the best design that they could make. And they actually incorporated that into a cover of our pond that meets all the needs that we have and is able to catch those leaves but allow for the living things in the pond to be successful. And they really work together as a team to make that happen. And now, as we get later into the fall, we can be confident knowing that our pond is in really great shape. And it has a functional pond cover, but the coolest thing about it was that it was created by our students. And they worked together and did an awesome job. Speaking of our students working together, I want to highlight something really cool. Last year, we had our Special Eagle Scout and former Bear Tavern student Michael Scupari build a raised bed that would be handicapped accessible and give us lots of opportunities to learn as part of our outdoor learning area. And he built it late in the spring, which led us to the summertime, and we just planted a few watermelon seeds and some carrots to see what would happen. And throughout the summer, and into the fall, we had a really successful time with watermelons, and we learned a whole lot about carrots, and I'll tell you about that in a moment. But those things incorporated and they gave us information and materials that we were able to use directly in our learning to further our students' curiosity and understanding. We learned a great deal about carrots and that you have to thin them out and space them out once they start growing, or you'll get mutant carrots like the ones that you see there, and we had quite a few of those, so we expect that next year's carrot crop will be much more successful. But we also harvested some awesome watermelons, and that did a few things. It allowed some of our classes to have actual snacks and to make observations, but it also allowed our fourth grade to extend a lesson, and they've been learning about energy. And with the help of our college students from the College of New Jersey, they performed an experiment about turning potential energy into kinetic energy. And they used rubber bands on our watermelon. They actually used 393 watermelons to put pressure on, watermelons. They used 393 rubber bands to put pressure on that watermelon until, sure enough, it exploded due to the energy and the pressure being exerted upon it. But it's something that those students will never forget, and if you see their faces, they've learned a lesson that's a practical lesson that not only was done in a hands-on, engaging way, but was used with materials that were grown right here at Bear Tavern. So many of the projects that we're undertaking are working great, and not only just on the surface level and in and of themselves, but they're feeding into a larger idea and a larger philosophy to where our students are able to learn from things around by really exploring and taking it to an individual and a unique level so that we can be excited about what we learn and we can have a great time in an authentic manner. We also, on the 25th, had our Oktoberfest, and it could not have been a more perfect night. We want to thank the PTO, all of our volunteers, our fifth grade committee, for making it just an incredible night. We started with our trunk or treat activities, and we had some unbelievable cars that night. We had our spooky hallway set up and run by our fifth grade students. They did a great job. We also had a spooky read, and I want to thank Mrs. McCarty for helping me out on that one, but we had all different grade levels and had some awesome books. But not only did we have our great music in the gym and activities in the cafeteria and food, but it was a really, really successful night, and I can't wait to see what next year's looks like because that was so awesome and successful. We had our literary pumpkins, our pumpkin patch that was themed with all different characters from books, and we had a really great time celebrating reading, celebrating books, but also creativity, and that was a really great way for students to contribute, to decorate our school, and to make it a lot of fun. And students worked very hard on their own to take a pumpkin and to make it look like a character from any of their favorite books. And it was really exciting, and they did a wonderful job. And of course, on the 31st was our Halloween parade, and I have confirmed, I believe it is the first indoor Halloween parade ever in the history of Bear Tavern, but we made some lemonade out of the lemons that Mother Nature gave us. We really want to thank everyone who came out and made that a wonderful time. Our staff had fun, our students had fun, and they did a great job of supporting each other. Even our pre-K students, everybody got behind and had a wonderful time. But students had a chance to have fun, to dress up, to have some wonderful costumes, and celebrate with families. We also want to thank Sourland Coffee for coming and providing coffee, and all of the proceeds that they made that day went to the Bear Tavern PTO. So Sourland Coffee is the official coffee shop of Bear Tavern, and that's right on Main Street in Pennington, and we are thankful to have them as part of our community. And of course, on Halloween, we had our classroom celebrations. Families did a wonderful job, and room parents of putting together a fantastic party in all of our classrooms, so we had a lot of fun. And I want to call out one specific thing. In Mrs. Chilella's class, that picture right there is the entirety of their waste. They had one bag of compost, and all of our plates and everything else was reusable. So our fourth grade has been starting a composting project to where they're working hard on composting and actually measuring out, because it does help our garden as well, but it reduces our waste tremendously. And we are piloting having reusable dishes for our holiday celebrations throughout the school, and Mrs. Chilella's fourth grade class was the first to do that, but they did a phenomenal job of really minimizing waste and had a whole giant party with literally one bag of waste and some reusable items that just had to be washed. She's doing some exciting things in that classroom as far as composting, and even different items that say they're compostable and other food items, just to see and compare how long it takes and what that process looks like. So our students are getting a hands-on learning opportunity. A lot of the things we talked about today happen all of the time at Bear Tavern, and I want to just re-invite everyone, and we've talked about this at Back to School Night and throughout other publications, but if you are interested on going to twitter.com and just putting in the hashtag Bear Tavern Pride, there are just so many pictures and opportunities. When you go to that hashtag, it pulls all of the pictures together of things that are happening throughout the school, so you don't have to wait 2 weeks for a Bear Tavern Basics to find out what we're doing and what we have going on. Finally, let's look at what's coming up. We have no school this Thursday and Friday for the NJEA convention, and on Monday is our Veterans Day ceremony, and information has been emailed out, and that'll be an in-school only, but everyone is invited to wear red, white, and blue, and we are going to be celebrating our veterans in our community, and we have many veterans that are coming in to be honored, but also we'll be honoring them through a slideshow throughout the day for veterans who could not be with us. On Tuesday the 12th is Life Touch Picture Retakes, and on the 14th our preschool is going to Pennington Market for a trip. And then we have early dismissal, so please be aware, on Friday the 22nd, we have our parent-teacher conferences that afternoon, but also Monday through Wednesday of the next week. The 25th, 26th, and 27th are all early dismissals. Monday the 25th, we have early dismissal with our afternoon conferences and our evening conferences. And on Tuesday and Wednesday, we have early dismissal in preparation for Thanksgiving break. So there will be no school on Thursday and Friday, the 28th and 29th. And of course, our PTO book fair, the 22nd through 26th. So we are very excited for all of those dates. And that's our Bear Tavern Basics for this 2-week cycle. We hope that you enjoyed your time, and we look forward to another awesome 2 weeks at Bear Tavern. Thank you.